Dunk and Egg have beat out all the other spin-offs in development. Oh, you thought the Jon Snow sequel would have priority? No way. Not when there's a story to be told that comes with source material. Why write your essay when you can have the teacher do it for you? And just like how the vocal majority of fans don't want anything not written by the big man himself, George R.R. Martin, it seems like HBO wants Martin involved in all the shows that will take place in his fictional world. Before I get into all the updates, would appreciate if you looked down and checked if you're subscribed. Thank you. We've known for a very long time, before House of the Dragon was in the works, and even before that Long Night prequel that didn't make it past its pilot episode, that George Martin believed the Dunk and Egg short stories would make for good television. I love the first and third short story, but I can't see this prequel reaching anywhere near the level of success that Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon brought in HBO. The plot coasts at a far slower pace, with far less action and no dragons. After being on the back burner for a while other spin-offs are moving forward, finally a big press announcement has been made for Dunk and Egg, as short as it was, even short for YouTube short standards. It also came with a blog post from George Martin. This is where we get all the juicy info, like title clarification, what exactly is being adapted, who's the showrunner, how many episodes per season, and the big question, Martin's involvement. George Martin snagged himself another executive producer role. Good news for the prequel, bad news for book fans crying for the Winds of Winter. He starts off his blog post entry by saying, "The announcement was made on the 12th at Warner Brothers' big press event for the rollout and rebranding of their new streamer, Max, coming your way on May 23rd. I was sworn to secrecy till then, but now that the word is out, I can go ahead and confirm it. Yes, it's true. There's another successor show on its way to you. Dunk and Egg are coming to HBO. The working title will be A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight. Whether that will be the final title, I can't say for sure, beyond saying that no, it won't be called Tales of Dunk and Egg, or The Adventures of Dunk and Egg, or Dunk and Egg, or anything along those lines. I love Dunk and I love Egg, and I know that fans refer to my novellas as the Dunk and Egg stories. Sure, but there are millions of people out there who do not know the stories, and the title needs to intrigue them too. If you don't know the characters, Dunk and Egg sounds like a sitcom. Laverne and Shirley, Abbott and Costello, Beavis and Butthead. So no, we want knight in the title. Knighthood and chivalry are central to the themes of these stories. I mean, he's right, but I'll still be calling it Dunk and Egg. I'm sure I won't be the only one. Aside from the title, what else can I tell you? Not a lot. Martin continues. HBO has given us a greenlight to film a full season, not just a pilot. Most likely of 6 episodes, though that is not set in stone, and won't be until considerably later in the process. To date, I have written and published 3 novellas about Dunk and Egg. Our premiere season will be an adaptation of the first of the 3 published novellas, The Hedge Knight, the tale of how Dunk and Egg first met during a tournament at Ashford Meadow. The pilot script is already written, and I think it's terrific. It was written by Ira Parker, who is no stranger to Westeros. He was part of Ryan Condal's writing staff for the first season of House of the Dragon, and wrote the 4th episode of Hot D's first season, King of the Narrow Sea. That's the one where Prince Daemon returns to King's Landing after conquering the Stepstones and takes Princess Rhaenyra down into the stews of Flea Bottom. Let me stop the quote reading for a sec just to say episode 4 of the House of the Dragon on your resume is huge. Arguably the best of the season, up there with episode 8 and 10. Seems clear to me why Ira was handed this huge project. He masterfully handled what could have been a part of House of the Dragon that dragged, without the sword fighting and dragon fire. But Ira knew how to lean heavy with the drama, so there's still some conflict going on. A skilled action director will have to be picked up for the final episodes of each season, when things do get wild and crazy though. I'm not too familiar with the other producer and writing credits on Ira's IMDb page, but you'll have to let me know how Better Things and The Landship did during their runs on television. It's a shame we've lost Miguel Sapochnik, who was co-showrunner for House of the Dragon and the best action director for Game of Thrones. He got caught up in the most pointless creative difference drama that I've ever heard, if the reports are to be believed. As for others who are involved, Martin says, Ryan Condal is on board as an executive producer. Ryan Condal is the other co-showrunner for House of the Dragon, but Dunk and Egg will be Ira Parker's baby. There is no date set yet for the series premiere, or even for the show to begin shooting, but the writing is well underway. Ira has assembled a small but very talented team, and they are at it already, building on the foundation laid down last year in previous creative summits, and of course on the original novella. The Dunk and Egg novellas are fully fleshed out narratives, more like the novels of A Song of Ice and Fire. In the imaginary history of Fire and Blood, the stories are right there on the page, and our goal is to produce faithful adaptations of those tales for the screen. I personally wouldn't compare the short stories to the main series. Not just because of the massive difference in pages, but the main books have a different way of storytelling. Each chapter focuses on one character's perspective. It'll go from a Jon POV to a Daenerys chapter. The short stories are all Dunk and Egg and only Dunk and Egg. I hope the writers take some liberties and touch on the rest of the Seven Kingdoms, because there's a very interesting character in King's Landing that everyone is going to want to see during this time period. If the Hedge Knight turns out as well as we hope, our hope would be to go on and adapt the Sworn Shoulder and the Mystery Knight as well. That will take a few years. Then comes the hard part. Before we reach the end of the published stories, I will need to find time to write all the other Dunk and Egg novellas that I had planned. There are more than I had once thought. There's the Village Hero and the Winterfell story, the ones with the she-wolves. And maybe I need to write that Dornish adventure too, to slip in between the Hedge Knight and the Sworn Sword. And after that, there are more. I just need to finish the Winds of Winter, and then do a Dream of Spring or Volume 2 of Iron Blood, and slip in a new Dunk and Egg between each of those in my copious spare time. And that will keep me ahead of Era and his merry crew for a few more years. Smells like optimism. It's funny how Martin can't say much else when he gives us much more than anyone could have wanted. I'm sure they're in the process of casting the main duo right now. Dunk will be easy. Finding a 10-year-old looking kid with Egg's quick-witted responses may be a little tougher. My favorite part of the blog post is when Martin goes in on clickbaiters you've seen with the comedic YouTube thumbnails breaking made-up news. He says, way back in the summer of 2016, when HBO first started thinking about Game of Thrones spin-offs, I pitched them 2 ideas. The Dance of the Dragons, which in due time became House of the Dragon, and Dunk and Egg. That was 7 years ago. I can hardly believe it myself. The lesson there is that development takes time. I see all the stories on the net about other spin-offs being killed or abandoned. No idea where they get this stuff, and it just makes me shake my head. The Nymeria show is still in development, so is the Sea Snake show. Just had a great week on that one, working with writers. And there are others, both live action and animated. How many will get the green light like Dunk and Egg? Impossible to say. How long will it take? It depends. No one knows for sure. When I was in grade school, there was a great cop show that ended every week with, there are 8 million stories in the Naked City. This has been one of them. And that was only New York City. Westeros and Essos are a lot bigger with even more stories. We just need time to tell them. So yes, he's as optimistic as ever. I know I'll love A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, if that's what they want to call it. I just hope the lower viewership from casual viewers won't lead to an early cancellation. Rotating spin-off airtimes from House of the Dragon to Dunk and Egg will keep things fresh for viewers and give the writers a little leeway so things aren't rushed for them. When House of the Dragon returns in 2024, 2025 can be this new show, and by then maybe we'll have a Nymeria show or animation that'll be ready to go into rotation. Good times for us ahead.